Clean water. It's colorless, odorless, and something we take for granted. We turn on our tap, and it's there, in a seemingly endless supply. But Florida's water supply is not endless. It is being compromised in both quantity and quality by the high demands of landscape irrigation in our sandy soils, by increasing populations, and by more and more impervious surfaces that block water drainage and recharge of our highly unique and important underground aquifer. These are the challenges we face in sustaining our water supply, and we must all help find solutions in the near future.
Well, 90 to 95% of our drinking water in Central Florida comes from the aquifer, and the aquifer is recharged by rainfall. And this is interesting because it competes with our natural resources, who's also using groundwater for spring flows and to hydrate our wetlands and rivers and streams. Well, the aquifer is basically a limestone sponge that occurs underneath our feet in Central Florida. And it's really interesting because it has large caverns and small gaps that just hold water. And it's a very immense, it's a very large reservoir of water underneath our feet. Well, the more people that move to Central Florida, that's more and more people. It's like having a lot of straws into the aquifer, sucking up the water out of the aquifer, and it lowers the aquifer level.
Water usage and water supply is one of the big issues the district is facing, and the public in Florida. And when we look at Central Florida, that's a large growth area. And we project if Florida this area continues to grow as it is expected to, and the public continues to use water as it does, that come 2013, there's not going to be sufficient water to be pumped out of the ground, out of the aquifer, to meet the needs without bringing harm to the aquifer or wetlands.
There's many things that depend on the spring for life. And for recreation. It's one of those things that we take for granted as people. The park currently is running about 260,000 plus visitors a year, and the majority of those folks come to recreate with the spring. And so if the spring continues to degrade, then that recreational opportunity will be no longer available for our future. Some telltale signs that the spring is deteriorating is the amount of nutrients that are coming out of the spring. In just recent years, we've had a tremendous problem with algae, and the algae is changing a lot of the habitat and the natural processes that the spring has. So we're altering it now. The things that we do today will affect the water coming out of the spring 25 years from now. So it's one of those things we need to be conscious of.
We have two really broad issues. We have water quantity issues because of the drinking water and the water consumption, and also water quality issues. The pesticides and the agriculture, these chemicals run off into our waterways and also get into the aquifer. So we need to somehow limit the amount of consumption so there's enough water for everybody to drink and enough water for our natural resources. And we also need to think about the chemicals we're putting on our lawns and landscapes. And this is something that average homeowners can do a lot to protect the environment. When you think about the fact that about 50% of our drinking water, the water we take out of the ground, is used for landscaping, to me that's just a tragic misuse of water resources. We need to be thinking about using native plants, xeriscape plants, plants that use less water, and that way there'd be more water to go around, and we wouldn't have natural resources shortages.
This may take a little bit of timing here. Water conservation plays a significant role in sustaining Florida's fresh groundwater supply. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to do without water conservation overlaps into water use efficiency. There's many appliances indoors that can be retrofitted, toilets, the low flush toilets. There are new automatic dishwashers. And then outdoors, the move to replace turf grass with much easier things like mulched paths and different elements of the landscape. Be nice to put an arbor. Get rid of your grass and put an arbor with vines. Pick a portion of your yard that just really has that unique feel and make it unique.
Well, solutions that we're looking at in water supply and working with utilities and local governments as well is finding alternative sources of water. When we say 2013, all the water that you're taking out of the ground, by then that's all that you're going to be able to take out without harming the aquifer. So if we continue to grow and you continue to use water and you're going to need more water after 2013, how are you going to fill in that gap? Well, that's where alternative sources of water come in. Some of the projects being planned or being discussed are desalination projects, treating seawater and piping it to areas where it is needed. Financially, that's very expensive right now. However, it could be a good plan for coastal counties that need additional water. Surface waters are another area of alternative water supplies. Some of the utilities and governments are looking to the St. Johns River, the Ocklawaha River as possible sources. These surface water are attractive to them because they don't have to pipe water quite as far as with desalination, and also because it's a cheaper process.
Once the public utilities switch to the surface water withdrawals, the reverse osmosis treatment is a lot more complicated than how water is being treated now. So price could be a real incentive to change. And it is incumbent, very, very necessary for local governments and the water management districts for outreach and education. And hopefully more incentives, such as the City of Oviedo and their ordinance to pay people to get rid of their turf grass.
Part of why Florida has had such a population growth is because it's such an attractive place to live. Not only the great weather, but you know, the beautiful environment and the animals and the wetlands and all those things are part of the quality of life in Florida, and protecting our water resources preserves that quality of life.